Okay, more civics questions that are worth asking. And today I want to take the time to talk about what is the rule of law. And we just have to remember that civics isn't just about memorizing the three branches of government and their tasks. It's actually learning how power works and how rights are protected and how decisions get made, and then what responsibilities come with living in a republic. My name is Matt Haskell, and I'm a high school history, government, and civics teacher at a small rural public high school in South Central Illinois. And I just think that there are some civics questions that are really worth asking, and it's my goal, hopefully, to give you some answers. And so, what is the rule of law? Well, the rule of law is one of those phrases that people use all the time, but it's really worth slowing it down and asking what it actually means. And at its most basic level, the rule of law means that no one is above the law, not citizens or police officers or judges or members of Congress, governors, presidents, the wealthy, popular people, powerful people, no one. So, in a system based on the rule of law, power is supposed to be controlled by laws, not by personal preference, political loyalty, wealth, anger, fear, force. And that matters because there's a major difference between rule of law and rule by people. Rule by people means that those in power decide what the rules are and when those rules matter and who those rules apply to and when the rules can be ignored. Rule of law means the rules are supposed to apply even, especially when it's inconvenient. It should be evenly applied when it's inconvenient. Even when a person involved is powerful or unpopular, or even when the outcome is politically frustrating. That's one reason the rule of law is so important in a republic. A republic cannot survive if laws only apply to some people. It can't survive if the leaders can ignore legal limits or if the courts become tools of revenge. A republic can't survive if citizens believe the system has one set of rules. That one set of rules will be applied to the connected people, and another set of rules that's for everybody else. The rule of law does not mean that every law is wise or just or that every court decision is correct. It doesn't mean that the government never makes mistakes. And in fact, American history is full of unjust laws and unequal enforcement and legal systems that have failed to protect people as they should have. And that history, of course, is important and it matters because slavery was once protected by law. Segregation was once enforced by law. Women were once denied their rights under law. Workers, immigrants, Native Americans, religious minorities, political dissenters, and many others have experienced the law as something that's unfair or unequal or oppressive. So when we talk about the rule of law, we shouldn't just pretend that law has always meant justice, because it hasn't. But the answer to unjust law is not lawlessness. The answer is a system where laws can be challenged and changed and limited, interpreted, and then brought closer to justice. And that's why constitutional government is important. That's why due process matters, and equal protection, and courts, and the elections, and free speech, and peaceful protest, why all of those things matter. Because the rule of law means government power must be exercised through legal processes. If government wants to punish someone, it must prove its case. If government wants to search someone, it must follow the constitutional limits. If government wants to take property, it must follow legal procedures under eminent domain. If government wants to pass laws, it has to follow the constitutional process of how a bill becomes a law. If public officials abuse power, there must be ways to challenge them, and that's why the process is important. And in civics, process isn't just red tape. Process is protection. It's the difference between a government that must justify its actions and a government that simply just does whatever it wants. The rule of law also protects people we may not like, and that can be kind of difficult. It's easy to believe in legal protections when they protect us or the people we disagree with. It's harder when those protections apply to someone accused of doing something terrible, or someone with unpopular views, or someone on the other side politically. But that's exactly when the rule of law matters most, because rights and legal protections are not tested when everyone is calm and everyone agrees. They're tested when people are angry or afraid or demanding quick punishment, vigilante justice. So a society without the rule of law may feel satisfying in the moment, especially when people want immediate action. But without the rule of law, justice becomes whatever the powerful say it is. And that's really dangerous. So the rule of law then depends on citizens, and citizens who understand that facts matter, and evidence, and procedures, and rights, and limits, they all matter. And it depends on people who can say, I want justice, but I also want the process to be fair. And that doesn't mean the system is perfect. It means that the system has to be held to its own principles. So in a republic, the rule of law is one of the main ways power is made accountable. Leaders do not get to simply rule because they're popular. Majorities don't get unlimited power simply because they have the votes. Officials don't get to ignore limits simply because they claim to have good intentions. Government must act through law. So, what is the rule of law? It is the principle that law should govern and not personal power. It means that no one is above the law. It means that the government must follow legal limits. It must stay in its lane. It means that rights cannot be ignored just because doing so would be convenient. It means laws should apply fairly, publicly, and consistently. And it means citizens have the responsibility to demand accountability without abandoning the principles that make justice possible. And so the real civic question is not whether we like every law or trust every official, because truthfully, we won't. The real question is whether power is controlled by law or whether law is controlled by power. And that's why the rule of law matters. And that was what I think was a civics question worth asking. So, what is the rule of law for the Cliff Notes version, the Spark Notes, or the Too Long Didn't Watch? The rule of law means no one is above the law and government power must be controlled by legal limits. It does not mean every law is perfect or every decision is just. It means power must be accountable and rights must be protected, and the process matters. Thanks for taking the time to hang out for this one too. This was the 11th one, I think. So appreciate you hanging around for these civics questions.